WRBuilds for another 5 gifted, man.
Won't spare you guys any detail. Let's get right into it. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. As you can see, I've got a nice little project in front of me. It's, technically speaking, it's a prototype. We're working on it with a client. We want to do this a certain way. They wanted to keep the tabletop, but we created like a nice little base for it. So I'm going to run you guys through it a little as to what we did to get it to this point. Step one, basically on creation of the table, was creating a base for it. You can see that we fully designed through Fusion 360. I then went to see an engineer friend of mine who CNC'd a nice piece of 1/2 inch MDF for us, and then I painted it. I painted it white because the client wanted a white base table, and at the same time wanted a white theme build. So that's pretty much that for the base of the table. And if we move on to components, the client picked all the components. The client decided to go full AMD build. We have a Radeon 69 XTX. We have a 7800 X3D CPU, 1 terabyte NVMe SSD, 32 gigs of DDR5 Expo RAM. The cooling in the system, the way the airflow is going to work, it's actually pretty basic. We're going to have 2 rows of fans over here that are going to be reverse blade cooling, and then we're going to have 1 set of fans here, which is going to be going exiting. So these fans are going to be pulling air out of the system, and these fans are going to be pulling air into the system. Now, if you're curious as to know how the cabling and everything is going to work, we already have the power supply installed inside of the desk over here, which is not visible. Yeah, so you can see over here the cutout, and at the bottom, if you look under the table, you can see that there's the air intake for the power supply, and this is where all the cables are going to get routed. I'm going to give you guys a bit of an idea of why certain components are in certain locations. It was requested by the client that the motherboard be in the center of the computer. Usually I would like to put it more on the side so that you have access to I/O ports and stuff like that. So because of that, I had to take that into consideration and create new hole sockets in order for the client to be able to plug in their components. So number one, you see the sockets on the side here allowing for pass-through of USBs and stuff like that. Also the GPU, as you can tell, is almost at the front of the case. Basically what's going to happen is the cables are going to come out from here and they're going to go in through either the holes here, or we may end up adding a hole somewhere around here. That's to be determined. It's going to be seen with the client. The GPU and the CPU cooler are a little angled from what you can see. Number one is, if I were to put this CPU cooler straight down, well, these tubes would have to bend a lot more in order to be able to put it onto the motherboard, so I decided to put it a bit at an angle, and also it gives it a bit more of an aesthetic. Same thing with the GPU. I didn't want to put the GPU directly flat, and two, if I were to put it directly flat, these components here, when the client would plug in their HDMI, they would coincide with the fans. So in this case, we put it at an angle, and in order to put it at an angle, I designed these 3D brackets, which I then 3D printed, of course, with the 3D printer that I have, in order to make the GPU hold very solidly, almost like clipped in. And same thing with the CPU cooler. There's 2 3D brackets at the back that you can't really see. These guys are angling the product, and now everything is nicely positioned in a way as to where it looks aesthetically clean and nice, and have good airflow. I also installed the power button at the bottom of the case. Reason being is there's going to be a glass over this whole case. So we can't put the power button at the top of the case. We could put it at the front, but my only worry is that sometimes, you know, you're walking around or someone has kids and stuff like that, they could just push the button or by mistake nudge into it and turn off the computer. And if you're playing a high ranked game and you turn off the computer, I don't think you're going to be too happy with that. But anyways. So on that note, guys, we're going to put all the components in, and I'm going to bring you guys along with me. So the fans that we're going to be installing in this case are the Unifans SL Infinity 140s RGB. They are the reverse blade models because we want to suck in air into the case. As you can see here, this fan is not a reverse blade, it's a normal one. This is a mistake caused by myself. I originally purchased the SL Infinity 140 reverse blade LCDs, but sadly they do not work with this kit. So I'm going to have to order an extra kit of reverse blades, 2 of them, so that we can just go full 6 reverse blade fans, and that'll be that. Yeah, so Sylvester made a doo-doo. As you guys can see, as I'm screwing in, I'm using wood screws, but we pre-drilled all the holes in order to just make it seamless when installing the screws for the fans, and even calculated the length of the screw just to have enough to catch onto the wood, a good, I would say, 1/4 inch to about 3/8 of an inch into the wood, so that I know it's properly holding the fan with no issue. Alright guys, so installation's fully done on the inside. Basically now it's going to be cable management. So as you can see, this is what it looks like from the bottom. The case is like fully solidly screwed into the actual body of the original table. And now I'm just going to do some cable management, and then we're going to boot it up, test it, and see if everything works. Alright peeps, we're done. System is fully integrated, fans are installed, GPU, motherboard, CPU, you name it, everything's done. I decided last minute to do a nice acrylic base on the top of the case. This is not the final finish, there's also going to be a glass going over it. I just wanted to give it a bit of an extra aesthetic to what already existed. I'm super happy with how it came out. If you guys are happy with the video and you want to see more of these videos, subscribe. It always helps us a lot. Comment, like, and if you dislike it, why you dislike it, you know? More information, the better. So I'll see you guys the next time. Thank you. Peace.